now listening to the #1 podcast that empowers, inspires, and motivates your walk with Christ. Ladies, don't you know you are fearfully and wonderfully made? You are far more precious than rubies. You are destiny shakers. Fellas, you are strong, visionaries, and mighty kingdom builders. Together, we are Virtue with Vision, the podcast. We discuss relationships, goals, life, and a whole lot of Jesus. Always remember, you deserve God's best because you are God's best. Let's tune into this week's episode. Welcome to Virtue with Vision, the podcast. I'm your host, Mary Lee Vance, here to remind you that you deserve God's best because you are God's best. Hey guys, as you can see, I have an awesome person next to me, my lovely husband, Randy. Say hi to the people.
Hello, world.
Yes, so today we are starting our new series, Fleshly Date or Godly Mate, what's the difference? And of course, I talk about my husband a lot, so we are going to talk about us and how God transformed our marriage. So, we're going to start off this first segment, and this story always gets a little tricky, so I'm going to let him go ahead and tell his story outside of his story first, then we're going to get to the truth.
The truth?
Yes, the truth.
So I'm telling lies?
You do be telling lies.
About what?
It's about our marriage, babe. About how we met. I'm the truth serum over here. You be trying to, sugarcoat the story.
I don't sugarcoat anything.
So, babe, tell the people, how did we meet?
We met it at the club.
No, we didn't.
So what? It was like around 11?
2011. We sure did.
2011. We both was at Fresno State. We knew mutual people, but
never met each other.
But never ran across each other. So around 2011, the college parties were kind of getting, down. Wasn't too much, partying. A lot of, all the fun people kind of left the school. So
yeah.
And I normally don't hold any parties at my residence. Anything, I don't like cleaning up after people and all that. But just so happened, a friend of mine wanted to throw a party at my place since I had a stereo, whatnot. All
the whole hookup.
Pretty much all you need really is a stereo and an auxiliary cord and a iPad, iPod, whatever, and you got a party. So so people came over, whatnot. I think it was someone's birthday. It got shut down, so it got
all the way down.
It got moved to my place and whatnot, and so yeah. And I was being security because it's my place. I can't really party when you got a bunch of people in your house and you hoping they don't break nothing or whatever. But eventually, she came by with her friends or whatever.
She did.
But I wasn't paying no mind at the time and whatnot. And my homeboy, a friend of mine knew one of her friends or whatnot. So after our party got shut down, or the party got shut down, which I was happy it did. Like, I was like, all right, y'all gotta go. But they, Mary and her friends came by at this time. Like I said, we knew mutual people, but we didn't know each other
at all.
So this is like the first time actually meeting. Actually, I ran into her earlier that night and introduced myself. She has no clue. She does not remember.
Yo, for real, I really don't have any recollection of meeting this man earlier that night. I'm trying to tell you, I ain't never seen him a day in my life.
Man. I know, and I sat right in front of her. But anyway, but yeah, she happened to come by, and I forgot what game we were playing.
I think it was Pictionary.
Nah, it wasn't Pictionary. I'm not sure if it
was it Apples to Apples?
Apples to Apples. It was something. But
we had to act. Were we acting out the words, or were we drawing? No, it was Pictionary because we was drawing out the.
It was some game. Some game. And
some other girl liked him, by the way, too, and I didn't even know that.
Yeah, like I had a crush, but I wasn't. Nah. But anyway,
she wasn't cute.
I was sitting on one side of the couch, and she was sitting across from me and whatnot, and she had like a green plaid shirt on, some jeans. Her hair was in a slick ponytail, whatnot, and she was checking me out and whatnot.
See, this is where it gets a little blind because I wasn't. I mean, I looked his direction. I ain't gonna lie, he was kind of cute or whatever. Man, but
she didn't take a peek. She stared.
Bruh, don't.
It's a difference.
No, how would you know that I was staring though? Like,
because you had your glasses on. You was like, you adjusted them and got a good look at what you was looking at.
Yeah, no, that's not what happened.
But yeah, so she was checking me out, but I was staring at her too. We made eye contact and whatnot.
Facts, we did.
And our friends, they was being like, I don't want to say, we'll just say silly. They're, pretending that, the beverages at the time were taking over more than they were. Whatever. But, it was like, all right.
That's a good way to put on a Jesus station. The beverages were taking over more than they actually were. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, rated G. But yeah, so we was playing the games and things and whatnot, and eventually the night was about to end, and since this
he didn't even ask for my number, bro.
I sure didn't,
bro. He was staring so hard, didn't even ask for the number though. But to be honest, I wasn't really checking for him. I thought he was cute.
Yeah, she was checking for me.
But I had just got a relationship, and I wasn't really trying to get. I was kind of cool off of the dudes at the time, but
get the book.
For real, get the book. For real,
you'll get her side of the story. This is
the truth.
Well, her truth.
Oh my God.
This is all the truth.
So,
but yeah. So night was ending. Said goodbye and all, and of course, and only reason why I didn't ask at the time because this is the first time actually seeing her, and usually we went to Fresno State, and people that normally I don't see often really don't go to the school. They just come down to visit. So to me, I thought it was just like a
see that you was trying to miss out on your blessing.
No, but Facebook,
Don't come for me with Facebook. Bro, I promise. So we always go back and forth with this because, listen, I had got home, right? And Facebook always, the people that you may know. This African-American young male popped up. I wasn't even looking for him. I promise I wasn't. I really wasn't looking for him. I wasn't. He was there. I was like, wasn't that the guy that I had just seen?
Sure was.
And then, I added him or whatever. I was like, hey, what's up?
No. She sent the friend request. Y'all know how this works. She and I'm pretty sure she probably looked at her profile and all too. You don't just like accept everything that just pops up. Probably looked at her profile like, oh, this is him. Probably checked out the pictures, whatnot. Saw the log history, like, oh, that is him and whatnot. So, so I accepted it, and we just started chatting, chatting it up and whatnot, we talked about the night, whatever, similar to, like I said, just talk about the night, small
Still
talk.
Didn't even ask for my number. Didn't.
Hey, when you
just ratchet.
Hey, social media is the new number getting these days.
No,
Yeah.
social media is not the new number getting.
Yes,
Do not put
yes,
that
it
in
is.
these people's head that's trying to get a real mate in these streets.
That's the I said that's the new number. Getting,
No, ain't no number getting.
But anyway,
Ain't no.
so we chatted up and whatnot, and what happened after that?
We had that party.
Yeah, so what fraternity threw that?
The Q's.
Yeah, the Q's threw every year they throw a Halloween party. So
Yes,
this is
it's a Halloween party. That's what it's going to be named on this podcast.
yeah the holy the hollow party, whatever. But so you know she came dressed up as a lovely policewoman.
Yeah.
You know, and
I was like, a lady cop.
I came up as
Randy.
You know,
He don't dress up for nothing, guys.
because I ain't being fake out here.
Whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, I came went there with me and my friends and whatnot, and I'm pretty sure you got pictures of your pre-gaming on your Facebook or something like that. Y'all pictures like hey whatever, but we happen to see each other, and we had I don't know, more than a few dances. Something like that.
No, because I caught your eye and you was like, hey, girl.
Yep. I went hunting. and I caught my prey.
Man, you sure did.
So,
You put the ring on it.
But so we we hands and whatnot, yada yada, and then as the night ended, still didn't get the number, still didn't ask for the number.
Facts. He didn't even oh my gosh, when I tell you, this whole man still, like, we danced the whole night till the party was over. We was around each other, everything. And he still did not ask for my number.
Hey,
and guess what?
For mine either.
Well, sure didn't.
All right.
Who's gonna do that?
All right, so we was on the same page.
No. Ain't no same page. No, so he waited until after the party, sent me a whole message on Facebook. A whole message. It was like 2:00 in the morning, and I think it was just trying to get a booty call, and I was like, no. Psych. So he asked for my number on Facebook, and we started, texting a lot from that point forward. And I thought that it was really, we got along, it was kind of cool, but then it was on Halloween, right? It was Halloween, actual Halloween night. After the party or whatever, we've been texting, kiki, ha-ha, whatever, flirting. He was super flirtatious. And then he was talking about some food he was cooking online, talking about he was throwing it down some chicken. I was like, dang, I want some chicken.
Right,
so then I put a status, right? And I was like, dang, some chicken really do sound good right now. And then I got an invitation.
All right, first of all. Anyway, so.
Was that not true? That was true.
I told her, hey, I'm cooking tonight. I'm making some chicken tenders and french fries. Like
chicken tenders,
sorry.
That college life.
Yeah, college life, it is what it is, we ain't 5-star and Olive Garden out here. We
not.
It's if y'all been to college, y'all know what's up. But anyway, so I offer her, an invite to my place, and say I was, make some chicken tenders, fish fries, whatnot. I know that sounds like that's got to be the most ghettoest thing, the most blackest thing ever.
Is.
You offer, most people will be like, yeah. Like that's how he got you, like chicken tenders.
No, but let me tell you before we go to break, babe, the most amazing thing that made you so different than any other guy I had come into communication with is that night, Halloween night, and you cooked chicken tenders and french fries. Yeah. And you sat there and you got to know me. You were on one side of the couch. I was on the other side of the couch.
The dating game.
Right. All you did was ask questions. You got to know me. You were like, dang, she's bomb. And I was like, he kind of cute or whatever. And it was it was great just having someone to talk to you. And no, I didn't spend the night. No, he was like, hey, you want to go to my room? He walked me to my car And I went home.
Straight gentleman, you know.
Such a gentleman.
You know.
But that is going to wrap up our first segment about how we met. We're going to get in our next segment about our relationship. And basically what made me write my lovely book, Fleshly Date or Godly Mate. Sorry, trying to get this together. Fleshly Date or Godly Mate. And I feel that if it wasn't for my husband, I would have not been able to write the book. It would not be published. He's played a big factor in it. And so that is that. We are going to go to our first break. You are listening to Virtue with Vision, the podcast with me, Mary Lee Vance, and my awesome, sexiest, most amazing husband ever.
Oh, stop it. The flattery.
Randy Vance. And just remember that you deserve God's best because you are God's best. See you in a second. Don't just talk it, you gotta rock it too. What am I talking about? Virtue with Vision Apparel. That's right, my t-shirt line. We not only know we're anointed, but we rock that anointed drip. We read that we should work like Ruth, have discipline like Esther, and pray like Hannah. Why not wear what you believe? Virtue with Vision Apparel line believes that we not only read the word, teach the word, and speak the word, but we wear the word too. Go to www.virtuewithvision.com and get your drip today. Do you have a small business you want to advertise to the world? Just getting started with your business and need to get it out to the masses? Are you a known, established, and prosperous business looking for ways to advertise your brand? Virtue with Vision, the podcast, would love to partner with you. From skincare, apparel, insurance, real estate, we welcome all brands and organizations. All serious inquiries, please email virtuewithvision@gmail.com. Again, that's virtuewithvision@gmail.com today. And always remember, you deserve God's best because you are God's best. A lot may know, many may not, but in 2019, I published my first book. Yes, your girl published her first book, Fleshly Date or Godly Mate. If you are a single lady out there who loves Jesus and desires to get married, this book is for you. If you purchase my book today, shipping is free, and I will sign it personally. Go to www.virtuewithvision.com and get your copy of Fleshly Date or Godly Mate today. The link will be in the show notes. Go get your copy today. Virtue with Vision is the #1 podcast that empowers, inspires, and motivates your walk with Christ. Go subscribe to this podcast and go tell a friend. If you need something to listen to while you're driving to work or cruising out on the town, this podcast is for you. We laugh, have fun, and get a little more acquainted with God each time. Virtue with Vision, the podcast, is available on all media platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Pandora, plus many more platforms. Subscribe today so you can check out all of my past episodes. Go subscribe now. Welcome back to Virtue with Vision, the podcast. I'm your host, Mary Lee Vance, here to remind you that you deserve God's best because you are God's best. Yo, I'm so excited. I actually got my husband on my podcast this evening.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like, y'all don't understand how goofy he is. But it's so awesome to have this time with him so we can learn about each other. And, people out there, they really do. They want someone that they can laugh with and share their life with and be married to and all of those great things, but they don't understand the work that goes behind a relationship.
Sure don't.
Or better yet, a marriage, because it's definitely way beyond just the wedding, the nice stuff, the wedding gown, the song, the party, because after that wedding, a lot of people don't know that it's just you and that person.
Oh, they know it's you and that person. It's just they don't know that it's you and the person.
Man,
the actual person that you get to meet after all the dating. You the representative leave and you actually meet
the actual person you're married.
Yeah.
So when we were dating, we dated for about 3 years. A good 3 years. It was college, so we both struggled. I wanted things that, of course, no one could afford at that time. I did. Can't even lie. But after, I want to talk about our first engagement, honey.
All right, for sure.
So I was just like, Randy, after I graduate college, I need to get married, blase blah. I was like, what you gonna do? And Randy used to always ask me this question that used to like completely shut my entire life up. Like my whole mouth would be zipped because I couldn't give an actual answer. Randy was like, well, what if I don't ever want to get married? I said,
Pause. Where is this camera at? Pause. I asked this before we started dating.
Facts.
Yeah, so, because she came, she was up front with it. She didn't date to just date. She dated to marry. And we were like, I was, 11? I was like 20, 21 and whatnot.
Just let them know.
So, and at that time, marriage was definitely not on my mind at all. Like, I think for most women, that's the dream, to get married, to have kids, to, the whole princess, Prince Charming, happy ending type thing. So, but, for most guys, that's not it. That's not the event. That's an eventual thing, but that's not that's not the right now. That's what I'm trying to do, when it comes to like dating. And so she was up front with it. I hit her back with something else.
I couldn't even answer it. I was just like, what you mean? Like,
but that didn't.
It didn't stop me from dating him.
Yeah, it didn't deter her or anything. Because I guess I was, at least from what I'm seeing, is that I was something different compared to the previous guys that she dated. I was actually kind, nice, did things for her. I didn't and she told me about her past relationship. So all those things I wasn't, when it comes to her, her feelings, like I didn't break her down, I didn't talk about her, things like that. Of course, we, anytime you date, you're gonna go being with someone in general, you're gonna go through, ups and downs, things like that. But on the initial, when we first started, I was something that she probably didn't really experience at the time. But I was also honest with her. If I didn't want to get married, would you still date me? Because I'm like, well, all right, well, let's not get too far, far ahead.
But you wasn't trying to break up with me though.
No, I wasn't. No, I like we stuck it out. The question wasn't answered. So.
But I mean, I feel that at a point in time after I graduated, it was kind of a pressure. We both weren't ready. We both weren't We both weren't ready. And that's the conversation that we had the other day, that, you know, our first engagement, we just both weren't ready. Yeah. I'm a pressure person, and I'm learning to get out of that habit. But I was just like, where's my ring at? Are we going to get married? Yeah. Let's get engaged. Ooh. When are you going to do it? What time? Yes. How are you going to do it?
Like, you know, because at the time we've been dating for some time, and
I was like, this is natural progression.
And for me, I wasn't, you know, financially like capable to do much at all. Struggle to find jobs. You know, in a college area where everybody is trying to, you know, be able to, you know, afford some kind of living, not just financial aid or student loans, but like, you know, trying to like be steady. So financially, it was hard to just support, you know, myself, let alone her. And so and I'm like, well, shoot, if we're struggling at this point, with like how I'm supposed to get a ring, how I'm supposed to afford a marriage
somehow.
Like that.
Oh, you bought the ring with financially.
Oh, sorry. So first engagement ring, because it had a tragic ending also. At least, first engagement ring. So it was like summer. Was this after you graduated? Or
summer after I graduated. Like August, July, August.
Out of nowhere. I think you was in Bakersfield. No, wait, nah, you wasn't in Bakersfield.
I was still in Fresno.
Yeah, we were still in Fresno. So out of nowhere, got a financial aid check for like $1,000-some. I'm like, and this is during the summer, so this is, you know,
looks like Mary's getting her engagement ring.
So, so got a financial aid check out of nowhere, and you know, so we went online, and you know, she picked out, you know, a ring.
Sure did.
And whatnot.
Sure did.
I think so. Summertime, we went out from Fresno back to LA. At least I went back to LA. I think she stayed in Bakersfield, or one or the other. But eventually, when we came back, ring was there, and you know, in this.
And I knew the ring was there. Yeah. Like, when I say, like, everything that could possibly go wrong did, I knew the ring was there. The engagement was whack. Like, whack. And I ended up moving back home to Bakersfield. I got a job there. So I thought I was working towards, you know, our facility where we're going to get married at our venue and stuff like that, looking at different stuff. And I was just like, it's just not working out. Yeah. It's just not.
Like financially.
We were far from each other. We couldn't spend any time with each other. It just didn't work out. So what did I do, babe?
She called it off. She called off the engagement. And
is that the only thing I called off?
Oh, we broke up. You know, whatnot. So, which was, you know, to me, it was something, you know, when you're not, you know, when you already know you're like financially not able to support something, you're trying to do something, you kind of have an idea like, all right, this, you know, the odds are not in your favor. And
I also feel that when you're trying to put yourself ahead of something, ahead of God's time, it's never going to work out. Yeah. God's time is never going to line up with whatever your time is, especially if you're impatient about a thing. And I take the blame on myself. It was my bad, because I wanted something so bad. I wanted to be married so bad. Listen here. I wanted to be married so bad. I didn't even think about the marriage. I was so focused on the wedding and look at me and, ooh, I'm married. I wasn't even focused on it. And it wasn't even where God wanted us to be.
And we both wasn't in the right place, in the right space at the time to,
at all.
You know, like I said, we're still like, you know, early 20s, and you know, we still had a whole future ahead of us, and you know, I think.
Well, it wasn't a future because I cut that future short. I was like, we're not together. We're not getting married. It's a wrap.
Well, I mean, like, you know, we were still young. We still have a lot more growing and development for ourselves to do, and that was going to create a disaster pretty much if it would have continued on, or if we would have forced our way through that. It would have imploded in such a way, you know, where we are now. We may not have even gotten back, you know, together eventually. But yeah, at that time, and you know, and I take onus on my part because I was so wanting to please her. You know,
that's another thing, babe. Speak on that. Because a lot of men, what they want to do, they want to please their woman, and I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with that, but in a sense, do you feel that you actually lost yourself trying to please me, or you didn't even know who you were at that time because of how young you were?
I'll say it's a combination of both, because you know, it was like young love, you know, and the models of men in my life, you know, they had wives, they supported their significant others and whatnot. So I saw that as the standard, which is not a wrong standard. It's just, you know, if you're not fully capable of doing that, especially the circumstances that we were, you just graduated. I was still in college. You moved away to Bakersfield. I was still in Fresno. You was eventually about to head out to Atlanta shortly after that, you know. So, but I was, you know, love is blind. I was blinded by the fact that, you know, I wanted to, you know, do this for you because I haven't been able to throughout majority of the relationship, as in, you know, being a financial provider and all, and I wanted that so bad, but eventually, yeah, it got shut. We shutting the studio down. We had to, you know, close the door on that first like venture in our relationship.
And I broke his heart, guys.
Yeah. Because it's like, because I already like proposed and I already told family and whatnot. So, like, you know, it's different when it's just y'all two, but it's another thing when, you know,
people was asking us, "Oh, when's the wedding?
Yeah,
when y'all getting married?"
And I'm such
ain't no marriage.
And I was such an introvert. Like, I only told like close, like, you know, I think like my mom and dad. I think Tremaine, my brother Tremaine, whatever. I just told, you know, close people, like, all right, you know, we're not together. Other than that, like, I went into, I went in, like, I didn't like make an announcement about, like, oh, it's up. I'm like, just let it fade away.
Let it fade away. Yeah. People will forget if we don't mention it.
Because I didn't feel like wanted to talk about it or whatever. So, and eventually we had to go our separate ways. And
okay, so babe, we're gonna pause here. We're gonna go to our second break because this is the last segment. I want to talk about why God had to break us up in order to bring us back together, in order for us to be who He's created us both to be in a marriage or a relationship, and building up to that and to where we are now, and how you think that God has been in the midst of our marriage, and why you feel God is important in our marriage. I know that's a lot, but we're going to unfold it. It's okay. Yeah. You are listening to Virtue with Vision, the podcast with me, Mary Lee Vance, here to remind you that you deserve God's best because you are God's best. Don't just talk it, you gotta rock it too. What am I talking about? Virtue with Vision Apparel. That's right, my t-shirt line. We not only know we're anointed, but we rock that anointed drip. We read that we should work like Ruth, have discipline like Esther, and pray like Hannah. Why not wear what you believe? Virtue with Vision apparel line believes that we not only read the word, teach the word, and speak the word, but we wear the word too. Go to www.virtuewithvision.com and get your drip today. Do you have a small business you want to advertise to the world? Just getting started with your business and need to get it out to the masses? Are you a known, established, and prosperous business looking for ways to advertise your brand? Virtue with Vision, the podcast, would love to partner with you. From skincare, apparel, insurance, real estate, we welcome all brands and organizations. All serious inquiries, please email virtuewithvision@gmail.com. Again, that's virtuewithvision@gmail.com today. And always remember, you deserve God's best because you are God's best. A lot may know, many may not, but in 2019, I published my first book. Yes, your girl published her first book, Fleshly Date or Godly Mate. If you are a single lady out there who loves Jesus and desires to get married, this book is for you. If you purchase my book today, shipping is free, and I will sign it personally. Go to www.virtuewithvision.com and get your copy of Fleshly Date or Godly Mate today. The link will be in the show notes. Go get your copy today. Virtue with Vision is the #1 podcast that empowers, inspires, and motivates your walk with Christ. Go subscribe to this podcast and go tell a friend. If you need something to listen to while you're driving to work or cruising out on the town, this podcast is for you. We laugh, have fun, and get a little more acquainted with God each time. Virtue with Vision, the podcast, is available on all media platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Pandora, plus many more platforms. Subscribe today so you can check out all of my past episodes. Go subscribe now. Welcome back to Virtue with Vision, the podcast. I'm your host, Mary Lee Vance, here to remind you that you deserve God's best because you are God's best. All day, all night, every day, I'm with my husband, but he decided to be a special guest with me tonight. And before we hop in, I just want to say, babe, I really appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for tolerating my tomfoolery. Thank you for still loving me through the craziness and being a supportive husband, not trying to overshine me, and you're allowing me to be authentically myself. And thank you so much for allowing me to be comfortable with being myself.
Love you too. And
yeah, I love you.
You know, it's been a pretty fun, loving, agitating,
facts.
You know, ride, and it's part of marriage. It's part of life. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're gonna spend the rest of your life with another person, so I appreciate that, and I appreciate all the love and support that you give me and being there for me, and being a guidance in a way to how to live a Christian life, from us coming from different backgrounds. So I appreciate you. I love you. I care about you, and just love you. Yeah. So, yeah.
Love you too. I can't call you your nickname. I ain't Please gonna do that. I won't do that.
That ain't for the world.
Oh, man. So, as we wrap up this amazing session or episode of my podcast, I want to talk about my book, Fleshly Date or Godly Mate. This book, like I said, could not have been written without my husband. When we broke up for a good year. For the most part, we didn't communicate for the most part. We did not communicate throughout the year. But a lot of things had to happen. I feel that in order for us to be able to be as strong as we are now, we had to grow separately. He had to grow separately, and I had to grow separately. I talk about all in the book when I move out here, how ratchet I was for the first 6 months, trying to marry and have a husband and get a husband and being I want a husband, where he at? But God had to actually show me and break me down and get my life together and make me a better me. At the same token, I feel that he had to do the same thing for my husband. God had to allow him to grow separately so he understood what independence and what providing is and doing things on his own. Because when he becomes one with a wife, if he didn't do it, I felt that it would have been a whole dependency thing, or it'd have been something that would be treacherous for our relationship. But the great thing about it is, what a lot of people don't know is when God has something in store for you, you cannot beat it or shake it. When me and my husband started talking again, after he took me out on one of the most bombest dates ever, he was like, I want to take you out, I got a car, I want to shower you with gifts, good.
Yep.
And it was so awesome because the way God works, it's crazy to me. I came back to Atlanta and I told Randy, we're not going to talk for a whole nother year. We'll try again in 2016 and I'll come back in December. We can reconvene at that appointed time. And that was not in my plan or the Lord's plan. I was walking with my cousin and my mom, and they were like, hey, yo, Mary, what happened with you and Randy? I was like, oh, no, we just waiting, for another year or whatever. They was just like, well, if you really didn't want them, you shouldn't even be entertaining them. You shouldn't accept no gifts. You shouldn't blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, really? I was just like, man, they have a point. So if I got back to Atlanta, I called him. I was just like, yeah, Randy, I think we should be together. We should try this relationship.
Man.
He was like, what you mean? I can't just drop everything now. Because I was just like, yeah, just come to Atlanta. We'll do everything. And that was the beginning of January. I want to say January 5th or 6th. I was like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's go. Let's do this relationship thing. Let's get married. Let's blah, blah, blah. He was just like, yeah, that sounds great. But no, I have responsibilities. I have a car note. I have insurance. I have a job. I can't just get up and leave my job. What do you think, Mary? I'm not about to come to Atlanta and be broke. No. So I was just like, maybe you should just do it. So I want to say January 27th. 23rd, the end of January, Randy got in a car accident.
My poor baby.
Car that he worked so hard for. Man. He got in an accident, and the car was totaled. And the crazy thing about it, I was on the phone with him when it happened. Yeah,
speaker though.
I was on speaker. No, it wasn't no text and drive and talk and drive type thing. Nah, it wasn't that. But the crazy thing absolutely about it, is that he walked away, no scars, no broken bones. He was good. He was still alive. He was still breathing. And that means no more car payment, no more car insurance. That wipes out all of the things that he was pretty much responsible for because he was at the time living with his parents. Am I correct?
Correct.
So the hardest thing for him, I feel, was him breaking the news to his family that he was moving. He waited until like the week that he was leaving to tell them. I don't understand.
No, I didn't wait till the week. It just happened to be that accident happened to occur, and we've been talking about it for some time. So, and on my end, it was like, and it's not like I didn't want to, be with her. It's just I'm originally from California, if y'all don't know, and Inglewood to be exact. And
oh my God,
like going to a different state and actually living out there, it was like, and plus she always wants to live out there. We've had this discussion before. Looking at houses.
Man, all the way back in college, I was like, yeah, let's go to Atlanta. He was like, no, we're going to live in LA.
Yeah,
no.
But eventually I had, and actually just kind of rewind back a little bit. We, after, we did have like the date.
We did have a date.
And where we kind of like, reconnected, reconciled everything and whatnot. And during those times, because she says it's in the book, and she tells me this plenty of times.
Get you a man that's gonna read what you pursue. That's just a side note.
Yeah. But she said, she wants a man chasing after God's heart.
That was my number one. Still my number one.
So, and at the time, even in college, we did go to like church and whatnot, and she may have fabricated like me not wanting to go and whatnot.
I fabricated? No, that was the truth, sir. No, right. I would be like, hey, babe, want to go to church with me? St. Rest, Fresno, California, DJ Cry, what that do? Like, let's go, let's do that. He would be like, nah, my stomach hurt. Nah, my eye hurt. Nah, my toe hurt. Nah, my nose hurt. Like, it was every excuse ever in the book. So, when Randy came out here, before he even came out here, I said, here, this is what it is. I said, I want a man that's chasing after God's own heart. If you ain't going to do church, then we can't do it. Like, it's not going to work. It won't work.
Wow.
And then he was just like, I'm open to that. And up until the days that he came out there, or came out here, we had verses that we were reading. Randy was like, hey, I was reading this in the Bible today. What do you think about that? We were praying over on the phone with each other. It's just really dope to see how God connected us. And with that, even now, when we're married and we're 3 years in, going on 4, it's awesome to see someone that is so willing and able to love being at his church. Like, he chose our church.
Oh, for sure.
And our church is like one of the best churches to be at, period, in Atlanta. If you're in Atlanta, the Faith Center, Tucker, Georgia, you should definitely check it out. Best church ever. It'll change your life. But it changed our lives. It changed our marriage. It strengthened our marriage. Ooh, that all came out. I'm sorry, guys. I spit it everywhere. But it strengthened our marriage. It strengthened who God has called us to be. Man, my husband loves serving.
Man.
He loves serving. That is the most... Listen, ladies, first of all, let me just tell you this. If your man don't serve in the church, you don't know what real attraction is. Because I'm trying to tell you. It's just something when Randy be like, oh, I got to go to the church because, I'm like, what you doing? You going where? All right. Or when Randy be like, yeah, because, like, me and him will get in, like, silly arguments or intense fellowship. And he be talking about some Cain and Abel. Like, that, I'll be like, you reading the Bible? What? You know about Jesus or whatever? Like...
I'm not sure you're trying to play me.
But it's the most attractive thing you can absolutely find in your entire being. I am trying to tell you. That's where my book was birthed out of. My Fleshly Date or Godly Mate was birthed in where we serve, in our church, in our home, us growing together, us loving each other, us being honest and open with each other with our downfalls. When we're not perfect. Randy makes mistakes. I make mistakes. I come forth clean like, hey, babe, I jacked up. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I am stubborn. Sometimes he's stubborn. But we learn in our marriage that if God is not in the middle of it,
it ain't gonna work. Or you will have a hard time, through your marriage. Sometimes, if you guys are not like on the same page when it comes to wanting to do fellowship with your church at your church, at home, outside your home, if you guys are not, if you're not on that same page, and then and when turmoil comes and God is not in the middle, it's gonna be a vicious cycle of why this keeps happening. You go through it, and then you may have a period of time where all right, everything's smoothed out. Then it comes back. It probably comes back even stronger because none of the reconciliation with God being in the middle of it, is gonna hit. Is always gonna hit times harder, and that's where divorce may come, or infidelity may come. Is gonna, if you don't have God in the middle of your marriage, because when you are married, God is right there in the center to join both men and women, and without that throughout your marriage, it got to continuously be there. It's not just during the wedding day where the pastor
brings you together.
Brings you together, read the everything through. So now so after that, it got to continue. You got to find a church home. You got to be able to talk about it, talk about the Bible at times, or talk about how or implement God into everything that you do, even in your household, even in your marriage, even at work, everything that you do. Because if you don't, the devil is gonna show up, and he gonna come and try to destroy any happiness that you guys have together, or he'll
anything that's God ordained, anything that is something with a purpose. Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So if we don't understand that Satan comes to kill, steal, and destroy, we are going to constantly be in this battle of, oh my gosh, why is this happening? Oh my gosh, go stay on the couch. Go to your mama house. Go to your cousin house. Go to your friend house. No, when you have a godly centered marriage, you understand that there's going to be difficult times that arise, but you have a fighting force on how you can fight to stay in your marriage. How sometimes outside help is needed. Therapy is not horrible. Talking to, your church is not horrible. But having that foundation to understand that we know difficult times are going to come, but how do we navigate through those difficult times, no matter how difficult it may be, to understand that our marriage has purpose and that we still have to fight through it. So throughout this series, we are going to talk about my transgressions in life. It's going to be so fun. You guys are going to learn about me. And I might bring my husband back. We might have to tackle a chapter together.
I'm gonna get paid.
No, you ain't getting.
Is there a fee?
Boy, if you.
I'll tell you my price after.
Gosh, whatever.
Today was free.
Whatever. But I really hope that you guys have enjoyed getting to know us. This is just a getting to know Randy and Mary, and I absolutely love my husband to pieces. He's everything. And my thing is that you guys hear, he was just talking about if God's not in the middle. I was just like, what you want to do after? We need to turn off the camera now.
That ain't got nothing to do with them. No.
Okay.
No.
But I just love you guys, and I just hope you guys are encouraged throughout this series in February, where it's all about love, but I want to do a lot of self-reflection on how to grow within yourself before you are able to entertain someone else. And that wraps up today's show. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Mary L. Vance and Virtue with Vision. Go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go do it now. Go do it. Virtue with Vision, the podcast. You should be able to find it. Go get your merchandise. We have our t-shirts. You can't really see it, but we have t-shirts available. Go purchase my book. Hello, it's February. He that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. That shirt is on my website, www.virtuewithvision.com. Fleshly Date or Godly Mate. Go get the book. Yes. www.virtuewithvision.com. And always remember, you all, you deserve God's best because you are God's best. Have an awesome evening.